Ndị be anyị ekenere m unu. Asị m ka nke e chiri ya zelu. Asị m unu ụtụtụ ọma, ehihie ọma, mgbede ọma, site n'ebe isi wee na-esore anyị n'ụbọchị nke taa na Eastern News 24. Anyị si na ọ ya dịrị onye ọbụla na mma ka bụ ndị na-esore anyị n'ilu akwụkwọ n'ihe anyị na-ebe dị iche iche. N'ụbọchị nke taa anyị si na ọ ya dịrị anyị Igbo na mma, na anyị yarị ka echi na echi ede agwụ agwụ. Ife anyị na-akpọ ya bụ ife wetara n'ụbọchị nke taa bụ ife anyị na-akpọ ya bụ morning tea n'ilu akwụkwọ. Ihe a bụ gbasịta maka ya bụ ihe na-eme na obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, ana gbasịta maka nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ. Dịka o si dị, o nwere ihe Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'ilu akwụkwọ nwetara unu ka unu ga ya bụ ife, unu ga-esi ya bụ ife na tinye alụ nke unu ife unu chere gbasịta maka ihe ndị a niile o kwugasị n'ilu akwụkwọ dị iche iche n'ụbọchị nke taa na morning tea. Dịka ị na-ege ya bụ ife, drọpụkwara ya ọnụ kọmentị n'ilu akwụkwọ, ọ dịkwa nnukwu mkpa. All right, over to you, sir.
Of Helsing Gotop, who later become heirs to the throne of Russia, and Peter III was proclaimed King of Finland. However, the political situation outgrows the idea of Finnish kingdom, and the concept quickly evaporated. I want you to pay attention. They had from 1742 until 1788. There was another thing called the Angela Conspiracy. The Angela Conspiracy was a scheme between 1788 to 1790 as a response to the end Gustav III Russia War, and it included the independence of Finland to some degree. Several people involved were linked to the war-ordained Russian occupation and the plundering of the 1713 to 21 Greater Rot. This still in vivid memory when Finns waged partisan warfare against the Russians. A man called George Magnut, who took no direct part in the conspiracy, had written a proposal for a Finnish constitution. That was in 1786. This particular person later had a role in forming the autonomous Grand Duchy of Finland within the Russian Empire. That is what we are from today, the de facto government. It's just a replica of what you know as the Grand Duchy of Finland within the Russian Empire, as he became the first Governor General of Finland after Sweden ceded the rest of Finland to Russia. And this was in 1809 at the conclusion of the Finnish War. Now, Finland started what they call the rise of national identity. This was according to Professor Heiko, before a nation declares independence. I want you Biafrans to pay attention to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Biafra and Biafra in exile, government in exile, and of course the de facto government in homeland. Before a nation declares independence, it must develop a national identity and certain institutions. That is exactly what the Biafra government in exile and the homeland have done today. We have been able to develop more of the Biafra identity, national identity, and of course, many institutions of Biafra government. Governing bodies for Finland were developed after 1809, when it was elevated as a nation among nations, as declared by Alexander I, by becoming an autonomous Grand Duchy under the Russian Tsar. The date of Finland met regularly from 1863. The national identity grows simultaneously with a pan-European nationalism. Ronderberg and Lerot created an idealized image of Finnish people and Finnish nature in the 1830s and 1840s. Also, the Snellman was a central person in national romanticism and modern nationality debate. He encouraged the use of the Finnish language instead of Swedish. Among the educated classes, during the Finland language strife, the Finnish mark was introduced as currency. Today, the Biafrans have introduced a gemma, exactly the roadmap, even when our own become very complex. While the Finnish introduced the mark as currency, we have introduced the gemma in this process. This particular mark was introduced in 1860 by the Bank of Finland. Today, Biafra has Bank of Biafra. Have introduced the Jema and Biafra coin. This particular mark, which Snellman pegged to silver instead of the ruble, during the famine of 1866, Snellman worked to obtain aid and distribute it in a country with low resources and undeveloped communication. I want you people to understand, I'm not going to give you the entire history of Finland, but there is a reason I have come this evening to tell you that I have become a stone. I have become a stone, and I will be the end of this whole thing. We will hand over freedom to our unborn generation. Not fight, not agitation, not liberation. We are handing over freedom to them. And if you find yourself in the midst of this generation that Simon Ekpa is leading today, you must be very proud of yourself. Today, our motto of freedom or die is Nigerians, we are not, or we are no more. Southeasterners, as Nigeria gave it to us, we cannot become. Biafrans, we must be. I want you to understand that in 18th century, the Finn adopted what they call the phenomenon motto. The phenomenon motto was, Swedes, we are no more. Russians, we cannot become. Therefore, Finns, we must be. Biafra are replicating this today on this day, 14th day of August 2024, that Nigerians, we are no more. Southeasterners, we cannot become. Therefore, Biafrans, we must be. It is going to go from here going forward, our freedom or die motto and slogans. My fellow Biafrans, something may shock you today to know that even from the 1917 discussion, the first period of Russification of Finland in the 1899 with the February Manifesto, a legislative act given by Nicholas II when Nikolai was the Governor General of Finland. As a response, the cultural address pro Finlandia was gathered with 523,000 names. I am telling you today that Finland conducted self-referendum in the name of pro-Finlandia signatures. Today, you can call it a referendum. They gathered 523,000 names that is supporting the freedom and independence of Finland. They gathered these names, and a delegation of 500 people was sent to St. Petersburg to deliver the signature of 523,000 names. Do you understand me? They took this step by themselves because Russia will never give them independence. They conducted the referendum themselves. Gathered 523,000 signatures. Today, Biafra have gathered over 50 million signatures. Can you beat that? I am telling you, I will be the end of this whole thing. Forget all their nonsense in propaganda on social media. I am here physically. Finland gathered 523,000 names to declare independent. Biafra has gathered 50 million. 50 million Biafrans are still counting. After the Finland gathered 520,000 people, they sent 500 delegates to Russia. With those names they gathered to St. Petersburg to deliver it. The King resistance movement formed at this time in the 1901 in Russia tried to alter the nature of the Finnish army. I want you to understand that as Finland was gathering 523,000 names, they already formed the Liberation Army of Finland. Today you can call them the Liberation Army of Finland. And in response to that, Russia formed what they call the Kagao resistance movement. They formed this movement at that time in Russia. They tried to alter the nature of the Finnish army with a new conscription law. This same thing Nigeria is doing today, wanting to enact a law that will say anybody who is agitating for freedom will go 25 years. Russia did it to Finland. They want to enact a law called the Conscription law in order to alter the army of Finland. They called it Conscription law, which demanded that Finns not only defend Finland, but also fight for Russia on any front. You understand? They wanted to carry Finland by force by enacting a law. What Nigeria is doing today is exactly what Russia have done. My people just believe in what I'm doing. You see, Nigeria will bring it down this year. Nigeria needed to go down for people to survive. Now, Finnish resistance grow into a mass movement. Are you listening to me? Because of this, Finnish resistance moved into a mass movement, and only half of the eligible men reported for duty. The Bobrikov was shot in 1904 by Egon, who shot himself afterward. The Finnish newspaper, Päivalehti, which had been censored before, was closed permanently as a result of the editorial written about assassination. Now, listen and listen attentively. The man who composed the Biafra national anthem, who is a Finnish man called Juan Sibelius, composed in memory of Skelman, the steamship SS John Grafton unsuccessfully attempted to smuggle large quantity of arms for the Finnish resistance during the Russo-Japan's War of 1904 to 1905. Even this Finland, people try to smuggle guns to give to Finland for their resistance army. The same thing we are doing today in Biafra land. It is a fight for survival. Today, people are bringing guns to Biafra to support us because we don't deserve to die. My fellow Biafrans, during the 1905 to 1908, a man called Leo formed a government and created a liberal democracy within the universal right to vote. Are you listening to me? A man called Leo Mechlin formed a government and created a liberal democracy with the universal right to vote and be elected. In 1906, the unicameral parliament of Finland was created with universal and equal suffrage. However, the power of the parliament was limited by the term from the 1908 to 1916. Now, I want everybody to pay attention. The second period of Russification of Finland. In 1908, the World War I led activist group to unite. Under Franz Albert Bobrikov, successors of the Governor General, all legislation was moved to the Russian State Duma, which then pushed for laws restricting Finnish autonomy. Are you listening? They pushed for another law restricting Finnish autonomy. This is something that Nigeria, they are debating today, but they have made their end. Russia demanded higher payment, and the Senate of Finland was replaced with the Admiral Senate or a suburb Senate. Nicholas too pushed the complete Russification and the end of the Finnish autonomy in 1914. While Nigeria was being amalgamated forcefully, fraudulently in 1914, the end of the Russification of Finland started. The Finnish autonomy, end of the Finnish autonomy started in 1914 in quest to stop Finnish freedom. But this was halted by the beginning of the First World War. The Jaguar movement was formed and sent first 200 and later 1,900 Finnish volunteers to Germany to be trained as Jaguars, a light infantry, for armed resistance. Are you listening to me? For armed resistance. The Finnish Jaguar formed 27th Jaguar Battalion. By the way, I served in the Jaguar Battalion of the Hammer Regiment in Finland. The historic battalion, as you're just hearing today. That was where I served in the Finnish military. The Jaguar Elite Infantry for armed resistance. The Finnish Jaguar formed the 27th Jaguar Battalion and were eventually sent to Libau to fight against Russian Empire. Sibelius composed Jaguar March lyrics written by Haig Nurumio, who served in the 27th Battalion. Now, I want all of you to understand that The February and October revolution in 1917 ignited hope in the Grand Duchy of Finland. The revolution for Biafra hope is coming, and believe me, 1 month lockdown of the Nigeria institution is part of it. After the abduction of one of the men called Nicholas II on the March, 2nd March, just like they abducted Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, all these things you see today did not start from Biafra. They also abducted those who were also in the forefront of the freedom in Finland in those days. The Persian union between Russia and Finland lost its legal base, at least according to the view in Helsinki. Exactly how everything have lost its legal base between Biafra and Nigeria, according to Biafrans in Biafra land. The same thing was applicable to Finland. As he was the Grand Duke of Finland, just the way Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. This man called Nicholas II was the Duke, the Grand Duke of Finland. Now, when he was abducted, the negotiation began between the Russian provisional government and Finnish authorities. That led to Power Act. The resulting proposal approved by the Russian provisional government was heavily rewritten in the Finnish parliament and transformed into so-called the Power Pact. I want you people to understand that even though we are not copying what Finland did, but there are similarities in it. And the history can go on and on and on. Similarity of the step and the template we are taking today to liberate you Biafra people from Nigeria and get you independent and get you lasting peace is almost similar to the Finland pathway to freedom. Today we have broken record as a government in exile and a government in the homeland controlling the territory of Biafra. And today we have recorded 50 million. I want you to tell me anywhere in the history of this world where a government in exile and controlling the de facto government have been able to conduct a referendum, beating and smarting the evil government in the homeland and having people in millions to vote. Today we recorded over 50 million votes, and the vote still goes on till November because of the situation on ground. We made sure that everybody will be given the opportunity to participate in giving their signature on Biafra referendum. Today we are winning, and they are running, sending assassins to Finland, sending suicide bombers to Finland, and when they fail, they run back to Finnish authority each time they see them come to Africa. My fellow Biafrans, the people you saw being interviewed as the ministers from the Nordic country did not come to Nigeria because of Simon Ekpa. They came for the African Union or ECOWAS meeting. And of course, Nigeria Islamic and Caliphate State, Nigeria terrorist state, and their nincompoop media, they will not ask relevant questions. They are always after Simon Ekpa. They went and asked the Finnish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Elena, who is a very noble woman, about Simon Ekpa. They left the problem of Nigeria. They left the insecurity that Nigerian military have recruited Boko Haram and they are killing people in northern Nigeria. They are killing people in the Middle Belt. They are killing people in Biafra land, of which we are resisting. They left all the insecurity that Nigeria army, police, and all of them have created: kidnapping, abduction, killing, and all that. They left those concerns. They left the concern that Nigerians are protesting for hunger. They left those concerns, and their only concern is Simon Ekpa. What are you doing, Finland, to capture Simon Ekpa? I am telling you today, I am here, and nobody will capture me. I will fight this thing till the end of it, and Biafra will be declared here in Finland. And it will happen in the presence of all of you, and you will see how God is going to use me to save Biafrans from the hand of the Islamic jihadist government and terrorist government of Nigeria. I want you to understand that after Finland declared independent, they had a problem. They had a problem, oh my people, a problem of recognition. This same recognition that we are fighting today. Finland had a problem. And you know how many times they have declared independence in Finland? That was under declaration of 15 November. That was under declaration of the 1917. And November 27, 1917. So the declaration on the 15th of November, which actually changed everything about Finland pathway to freedom. Irving formed a Senate, which started on November 27, 1917. Its goal was to execute independence as soon as possible. The Senate returned to the Parliament with a declaration of independence and a proposal for the new Republican instrument of government on the 4th of December. The Declaration of Independence was technically given to the form of preamble of the proposition and was intended to be agreed upon by the Parliament. Parliament adopted the declaration on 6th December with 100 votes against 88. Do you understand that this Finland today, 88 persons voted against the Declaration of Independence of Finland, while 100% voted for it. So minus 88 from 100. How many did they give you? 12 or 22 was the winning number for the declaration of the independent state of Finland. Do you understand? They won the vote with 12 persons, ordinary 12. Ordinary 12. It was 100 against 88. So 88 Finnish people say no to the declaration. Today, the same people who don't know this history, or maybe who know this history, will be telling you how a certain person will be sitting on a national television and telling you, we are not for Biafra, I am an Igbo man, I am a Joe, we are not for Biafra, but in Finland, 100 voted yes, and 88 voted no. Only 12 changed the fate of Finland today. This thing that all of us are joining today, only 12% made the difference. Now, after the declaration after the voting of 100 to 88 on the December of 1917, with reference to the declaration of 15th of November, are you listening? In the new declaration says, I want you to understand, the Finnish people or the people of Finland have by this step taking their fate into their own hands. Are you hearing me? After they voted by 100 to 88, they have the declaration wording, and it reads like this. The people of Finland have by this step, the step they are taking by voting to declare Biafra, which is exactly what we are going to replicate in Finland on the 2nd of December. After gathering our vote, we're going to count them, and we're going to know how many people have voted for Biafra. Now, a step both justified and demanded by present condition. Their present condition justify the step they have taken by voting to declare independent. They say that it is not only the condition, but also the present condition demanded by this present condition justify the means, justify the fact that they have voted for the declaration of independence of Finland. The people of Finland feel deeply that they cannot fulfill their national and international duty without complete sovereignty. The same thing we, the Biafra people, are feeling today that makes Simon Ekpa to become a terrorist, according to them. The reason why Simon Ekpa is the bad person in the eye of the enemy who have killed our people before the emergence of Simon Ekpa is because with Nigeria, Biafrans continue to be in Nigeria. We, the Biafra people, will never ever fulfill our national and international duty without a complete sovereignty of Biafra state. That is the reason why Simon Ekpa and the Biafra government is doing what we are doing today. We have every potential to become the best in the world. We cannot attain this potential under Nigeria. Apart from the security issue, apart from the killing, the annihilation, the massacre and mass murder of the Biafra people, the marginalization, we can never ever attain our national and international duty without complete sovereignty nation of Biafra. The century-old desire for freedom awaits fulfillment now. This was the word of the Declaration of Independence State of Finland. This exact thing we will do in Biafra and for Biafra and in Finland in the convention. Now, Finland's people stepped forward as a free nation among the other nations in the world. The people of Finland there to confidentially await how other nations in the world recognizes that with their full independence and freedom, the people of Finland can do their best in fulfillment of those purposes that will win them a place amongst civilized people. Are you listening? Now, after the declaration of Finland, a man called the sovereign vote immediately asked Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Germany, France to recognize Finland independent. The West, however, these countries, however, said they would wait until the former ruler, Russia, recognized the declaration. They did not recognize Finland. They didn't recognize Finland though. They told Soviet Vood to talk to Lenin Bolshevik government of Russia. The Soviet Vood was hesitant to do this. This was hesitant to even talk to the government of Russia, as he did not want to recognize the Bolshevik as the legal ruler of Russia. He don't want to contact the Russian leader then because he don't recognize him as the Russian leader. But they asked him, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, asked him to contact the Russian government to recognize Finland declaration. He refused to do that. Are you listening? However, after this, beside, he thought that the Bolshevik government would probably fall soon. So he was believing that the Russian government then will fall. So the parliament decided to ask for the recognition from the Russian Constituent Assembly. Germany, which was middle of peace negotiation with Soviet Russia, pressured Finns to talk to Lenin and the Council of the People Commissioners. Sweden's good followed the advice as Finland wanted Germany's recognition as soon as possible. On December 18th, the Soviet Russian government issued a decree recognizing Finland independent. And on 2nd December to January, it was approved by the highest Soviet executive body, the All-Russian Central Executive Committee. This is how meeting is told Soviet biography. Now, I want you people to understand that we are not expecting Nigeria, to agree and recognize Biafra after declaration. That's why we have guns to defend ourselves. That is going to happen. Now, they are already killing our people even before we started. They are already enacting law to jail you 25 years even before we started. So we are not expecting Nigeria to recognize our self-referendum. We're not expecting them, but we're going to approach them to that immediately after the declaration. My people of Biafra, the roadmap to Biafra freedom and independence is very clear. I don't know what is it that you do not understand on the template that Samantha is using. I am the pilot of this Biafra movement today. I am the pilot of the liberation of Biafra, and I am standing very strong, and I said I will not pass this war onto our children. I will rather pass the freedom of Biafra and the freedom of speech and the freedom of association onto our unborn children. That's what I'm fighting, and this year, 2nd of December, will be the beginning of a new dawn and a new life and a path to peace, a pathway to peace and everlasting peace and everlasting peace and everlasting peace and everlasting and lasting peace in our region and within our people and within ourselves.
Ebo mana ege ntị daalụ nne na ụmụ ife ka unu si wee na-esoro anyị n'idu akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24 n'ụbọchị nketa anyị na-akpọ ya morning tea. Unu anụgonu ya bụ ife mgbakọrịta ụka ya bụ ife Maazị Simon Ekpa bụ Biafran Prime Minister or Biafran Public Government in exile. Dịka o si dị n'afọ ka o si ada n'iru akwụkwọ. Gịnị ka ị nwere ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile kwugasị n'iru akwụkwọ dị iche iche dropụla ya on the comment section below. Ọzọ dịkwa ka ibi ya bụ na nke a bụ ụbọchị izizi gị na-esonyere anyị n'iru akwụkwọ. Onye na-afụ ya bụ ihe onyonyo anyị kaba alụ ka ị like ya and turn on notification, share kwa ka wetakwa ndị ọzọ ụmụnne anyị ndị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Daalụ nne na Igbo ma na-ege ntị. oge na-adịrị anya onye ndu ya apụta n'ụlọ mkpọrọ. Ka emesịanụ ụmụnne m.